Hey, what's going on, guys? The reason that I'm doing this live stream is because I wanted to talk a little bit about what I think I'm going to start doing with my channel. So I think that I'm going to get away from red pill content. Like, I'm still going to be who I am and have my red pill philosophy in my life. But I think that I'm going to start incorporating the hobbies that I'm doing, because this channel is really about male improvement and the journey of like me as a person. And I know for a fact that like the hobbies that I do, or like the hobbies that I started doing, are really helping me find happiness and fulfillment in my life. And I'd like to share that with the channel. And I'm starting to do more artistic things again, because prior to me making this channel and whatnot, I really didn't have any hobbies. Like, I literally played video games sometimes, and I worked and hung out with my kid. And I think it's very important for me to I think it's very important for me to I think it's very important for me to just to show some growth on this channel, so it's not just it's not me just talking constantly, because there's a lot of content creators that are doing the red pill stuff, and there's a lot of, there's just a lot of stuff that's going on that, like, it's sounding good at the very beginning, but like it's not really what's going to satisfy me. As time's gone on, I keep doing it, and it's really not my cup of tea. Like, I'm not saying that I'm not going to keep doing what I've been doing, because I'm going to, but I would really like to I'd really like to incorporate more of the stuff that I'm doing. So I'm going to start vlogging when I go out and take photos, and I really want to start getting people to, at least getting men to start pursuing a hobby and like take it seriously, and maybe try to get more out of life than just the basics that arguing with women, or I'm going to keep coming out with content like has to do with articles and stuff in the media and stuff like that, because I find that is important, but I don't want my channel just to be about that. Also, like, I am going to say stuff about race on the channel as well, because I feel that there's a lot of a race narrative that's going on in the media, and I feel like there's a lot of animosity or distrust or hatred with white folks, and I hear it in a lot of other content creators in their comment sections, or when they do videos and stuff like that. And I just don't think that that's really good. I think that there's a lot more things going on against men than it is mainly by race. I think race has very little to do with what's going on in our society. So I'm going to keep bringing my content out like that. But if I could, I would be out in Minnesota recording the riots and recording what's going on. But unfortunately, I am not in a position to where I can not be at work during the week and go and video and do photography or record any of the stuff that's going on, like protests or whatnot. Hopefully in the future, I'll be able to get to a point where I am able to take off work, or I'm not going to be doing electrical work as my main job, so that I can do more documentation of stuff like this. But as of right now, that is not the case. So yeah, like that's what I'm thinking I'm going to start doing with this channel. Like, I've been doing photography pretty much all week, and taking photos and editing photos, and I find it to be very fulfilling. And I'm still going to do live streams and I'm still going to do that stuff. But I want to do more than just talking to a camera about articles. I feel like there's a lot of content creators that already cover that for everybody. And like, you know, there's no, like, I want to do something that's a little bit different. Pretty much what I got going on today is I'm about to, around 4 or 5 o'clock, I'm going to go out and I'm going to start taking some photos of more parts of Cleveland. And I'm going to do some recording and vlogging while I'm out, and I'll post that tomorrow or Monday. That will be up about where I was at and what I was doing. But yeah, like that's pretty much all that's going on right now. I need to start getting back into doing art and whatnot. What tweet from Mike Tyson? I'm not familiar with like I'm gonna be honest with you guys. My social media presence isn't really that big. Like I really didn't have a large social media presence prior to being on YouTube. So like I don't actually see all of the stuff everything that goes on social media. So if you guys what was the tweet of Mike Tyson? What did he say? Like what was it about? Like I'm not familiar. No, I am not a Latin king. I'm not. That was not who I ran with when I was out in the street. No, but I do have a 5-point crown on my hand, and that is a Latin king tattoo. What do you mean that was the tweet? Like I'm not understanding the context that you're putting down, Pence. Because like I don't know what he said, or was it what I said about race? Is that what he said and got deleted? Like I'm not getting the reference of like what you're trying to convey through your text messages or your messages or your comment. Here, I'm gonna post the link for the chat. Okay, so here I'm gonna drop the StreamYard. If you want to join the StreamYard and tell me, or you can email me at savageredrecovery@gmail.com and I can look at what he said. Okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I get that. Well, here's the thing. Like yeah, I see it. Well, that's true. If, you know, heck, if white people rioted every time a white person got killed, then nothing would get done. Everything would be destroyed. Like I was saying before, when it comes to people being killed by the police, white people are killed 2 to 3 times more than black folks. Like black folks being killed by the police is literally only like a third of the deaths every year from the police. Like way more white people are killed. And that's like, I'm not saying that one person's life being taken is better than another person's life being taken. I'm just saying that the thing that black folks are getting upset about they're saying it like it's every day, all day long, and only black people are being targeted, and it's that's not the case. It's everyone is being targeted, but the news is only showing black folks because it wants people to get angry, and it wants people to be in their emotions, and it wants to lower their vibration into a negative. Like the main reason that I think that this stuff is going on in the news, because I've actually seen some good arguments to make this people think that this might have been staged, or that this was put into the news because they want a race war to go down. Like they want there to be hostility between the races so that other things can happen. Like they wanted to keep the lockdowns going on. Yeah, they wanted the riots to keep. They wanted the lockdown to keep going through the election. Yeah, that, and also like if a race war happens, then one, the population will be more divided, and two, they'll have to call in martial law, or they'll have to we'll lose freedoms, because once we take that step to where it becomes mayhem, then as people, the government will step in and we will end up losing more of our rights. And that doesn't help us, but benefits those that want power. Yeah, the people that are at the top, the people that are, like, I'm not going to say Trump, but I'm going to say like definitely like globalists or bankers or whoever it is that's has power through the government that's not necessarily in the spotlight. They would like to take more control. Like that's why so many industries and so much stuff in America is carrying water for China, because China is like these people's dream. Like China has so much power over its people and its industries that they don't really have personal freedoms, and that's why a lot of our manufacturing and a lot of our stuff went to China, was because the idea is they planned on moving everything to China. So they were building up China and taking it from America, because eventually America was going to collapse and they were going to move everything to China, so they would have more power and control over a population. And I honestly believe that, and I also think that's the reason that exactly, and I really think that's why there's so much going on with Trump, because Trump is fighting against that, and he's trying to undo some of those things, and that's why I think they hate him so much, because he had mentioned it and said that he would do this prior to ever, like 10, 15, 20 years ago. He was saying these things, and then he became president, and now he's fighting against it. Like like that's what I think is going on. I really gotta try to not be I'm not gonna lie, I'm definitely a Trump supporter. I will definitely be voting Trump for 2020. Like he's not perfect. I don't think that he is perfect. I don't think that he's like a god among men, but I do think that he has the best interest of Americans at heart compared to other presidents that we've had in my lifetime. And well, everyone deserves criticism. Like the fact of the matter is, everyone deserves criticism. But also, if you've come to realize, Trump keeps people around him. Like if you ever have read his book, The Art of the Deal, The Art of the Deal was modeled after the Art of War. So the Art of War talks about when you are strong, appear weak. When you are weak, appear strong. The idea of keeping your friends close but your enemies closer comes from that same concept of the art of war. And that's what he does. He allows these swamp creatures to be in his administration, and he uses them. Yeah, like, so best example, Fauci, that doctor, everyone knew he was a swamp creature. So he allowed him to be up in front. And then as soon as stuff started coming out, that was negative, he had him out there making him answer those questions. And now people know Fauci's name. Even if people really saw Fauci 10 or 15, 20 years ago, they really didn't know who he was. Like, I didn't know who Fauci was until he was part of Trump's administration. And then once this virus stuff started happening, like, now you don't see Fauci that much because people have, like, Trump is seriously waking people up to what is going on in society. I believe. I'm a staunch Trump supporter. Like, I think he's doing great things for this country. I think that he cares about all people compared to just, a certain population. Or I don't think that Trump panders. I don't think that he does. Like, I would rather have a guy that says some savage stuff to me and stuff that I don't like and tell me where he sits in life on a subject than to whisper sweet nothings into my ear and make me feel good about life when that's not at all what he feels or thinks. Like, I'm a real guy. Like, what you guys see on this stream or what you guys see on MTR's stream, or when you see me on the internet, the way that I act and talk and think, these are my real opinions of stuff. And that's what I like about Trump. Like, I think the reason that he hasn't done so much about the censorship is because you have to like, with this stuff, you can't just come in and do whatever it is that you want. Like, when you have the entire government machine working against you, you have to strike at certain times. And I think that over the course of, like, for example, when the Russia investigation was going on, had Trump started striking these social media content, these social media websites and companies, people would have said, "Oh, well, you're doing that because you're trying to cover up stuff with the Russia investigation," or like, he has to make sure that when he drops something, that the narrative can't be used against him. And since Russiagate's over, the Mueller report's done, all these things are done, and information's coming out that there was stuff going on, that, like, they were spying on him and they were doing a bunch of underhanded stuff, and people have come to find out that stuff that they were saying for years was fake. Now people don't trust the media as much. Yeah, they still talk about Russia, but there's enough evidence out there to prove that they're full of crap, and there was no collusion. He was, like, a lot of the stuff that they were saying, there's enough evidence out there in the open with the declassification of stuff that it's not true. So I don't think if he would have arrested Hillary when he became president, because he already knew what was going on, like, he wouldn't have had enough of the deep state gone out of the government for anything to actually happen. And now that he has gotten a lot of the people out, a lot of the swamp creatures are out, and he's putting people in. Yeah, I agree with you, but I don't think that prior to this, the time would have been good. I think that as stuff's going on now, I think that the ability for him to actually do something against it is much better now than it was then. And I think that Trump and his team are all about timing. And, like, have you ever heard the saying, if you're going to shoot at the queen, you better not miss? I think that his team plays to that really, really hard. Like, if they're going to do something, they're going to give themselves the best odds to make sure that it works out in a good way. like I think he deliberately baited them into censoring him. Like he's been on Twitter constantly, and now like they're getting so bold because the elections are coming that they're trying to stop what's going on, and the COVID lockdown thing narrative wasn't working so well. So now they're trying to do whatever they can. Exactly. Like you want to take out the king or the queen before, like taking out pawns isn't going to do anything. And I think there's enough pawns that have been taken off the map that he can start hitting bigger targets. That's honestly what I think's going on. Like, yeah, like I think things are going to go good. Like the economy is already rebounding really well. I think it's going pretty well. Like I'm hopeful. But I'm trying to like I'm not exactly 100% sure what I want to do with this channel. Like I know it's going to be a lot of time before I become monetized, and I know that it's going to be a lot of time before my hard work is going to pay off for me. So I would rather start trying to figure out what it is. Yeah, jobs are going to be super important. I really want to start figuring out what it is I'm going to do for this channel, because it'd suck to get to, where I'm monetized and then start trying to change what I'm about to do. I've been watching a lot of photography and a lot of photography and people that are making like a lot of content creators that do video and photos that that's what they do primarily, and they just do stuff on YouTube. Like YouTube is not their main thing. I've also been watching a lot of wedding photographers and stuff like that. Like I'm not really sure where I want to go with this. I kind of wanted to get on here and talk to people and see what they thought, or get some people's opinions. But this live stream, there's only me and you in here, Pence. Yeah, I think I'm going to start going into a more artistic role, because I definitely like doing art. I've always liked doing art. Like I could vlog when I do electrical work, but that's I really don't want to hold a camera and record myself doing electrical stuff. Like yeah, I do think that this job is going to be a big thing. Definitely. I was really hoping that we'd get a couple more people down into here, but so Pence, what are you doing today? Like, what's everyone up to? Like, I'm about to, like, about 3-4 o'clock. I'm about to be going out, and I'm about to be doing a bunch of street photography of Cleveland. Like I said, there's a ticker going across. That's my Instagram. You guys go look at some of the artwork that pictures I've been taking and editing and posting. I also have a Patreon. If you guys, I'm going to start posting up. I have content on there, but I'm going to be doing like behind the scenes stuff on there. If anyone, also if you become a Patreon subscriber, you guys can talk to me directly. Like, I'll give you guys my phone number, and you guys can talk and call me or whenever you guys want to chat or whatnot. I want to start getting more guests onto my live streams and onto my channel. I think it's good to have more perspective than just me staring into a camera, because a lot of people don't really think the way that I do. Like I'm really big into, like, I believe a lot into conspiracies. Like, I don't really believe that a lot of the stuff that we're told is what's the truth. I believe that there's more to every situation. And I really do feel that race isn't a big thing. Like, I don't think that, like, race plays a big role in the stuff as people want everyone to want it to be. I don't think that. I think that that's a disingenuous thing. What do you do, Pence? What do you do for a living? What do you do, Pence? All right. Well, I'm hoping that this year there's some stuff that comes to Cleveland that I can go down to downtown and start. I can start recording, like, feminists. Well, the thing of it is with this virus thing, there might not be a lot of demonstrations and stuff here in Cleveland, but as time goes on and stuff starts coming to Cleveland, I'm going to start doing some, like, journalism, photography stuff that happens in the city. Maybe at one point I can get to where I can just go and document stuff around the country. I would enjoy doing that. Like, I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to end up, but I think it's going to definitely be with photography and the recording with recording stuff with videography. Yes, and I do have a speech impediment. I know. But that's pretty much all I really have. Like I don't have a whole lot to. I didn't have a set topic or anything. Like I woke up this morning. I woke up at noon and did a couple things, and I did this live because I wanted to update people a little bit on what I was thinking about with what I'm doing with my channel. Like I definitely enjoy the idea of being able to record stuff and bring light to stuff. I think that it's just good to be able to, kind of do a therapy of into a camera and tell your thoughts to other people and get stuff off your chest like that. I don't really see a whole lot of people coming down into the chat or anything like that, so I might end up in the stream. But it is what it is. Like it is what it is. As always, guys, this is just just some Saturday afternoon discussion. Like I haven't even showered yet. Like I woke up and went and took care of a couple errands, and I'm on here putting up this channel, putting up on this live channel, this live stream on my channel. Like I haven't even checked the news today. Like I don't even know what's going on. I'm sure there's some mayhem going on. I think I'm gonna do a story today or tomorrow about like my dad and like some of the stuff that went down in my life to give people a better understanding of why exactly I like why I am the way I am. If anyone has like anything that they want me to touch on or talk about, you guys can always email me at savageredrecovery@gmail.com, or you guys can message me through Patreon or hit me up on Instagram. Also, I have a Facebook for this channel. It's Savage Red Recovery, Facebook.com/Savage Red Recovery. So if there's anything you guys want me to touch or talk about or questions you guys have to ask, go ahead and get a hold of me because I have no problem answering questions or talking to any person that wants to know something. What's going on in the news? Let's check out the news right now. Oh, the National Guard happens to be in Minnesota. Nike releases ad in wake of George Floyd death. Okay. What's going on with feminism today? Okay, so this is okay. I've seen this article before. Yeah, I feel like feminism and female rights really aren't doing anything crazy right now because of the COVID. I think the COVID is definitely stopping some of that. Yeah, see, like even men's rights stuff. Like I'm looking up articles right now, and the articles are from like 2018. Like there's not a whole lot going on. Like I guess there's celebrity gossip and stuff that's going on, but I don't really see a whole lot of stuff that's going on with men as of today. What's this article right here from? Like this article right here is from 2017. And what's happening to men? I'm going to share the screen. So there's this article right here. So what's happening with men? It's by a woman, Linda Sapidin, PhD. Recently, I wrote my experience growing up with guys who groped, flashed me, and more. Since then, I've received many letters from women who thank me for writing about their experiences, and one letter from a man expressing regrets that I had to go through all that. This week, I'm writing about the growing tide of the Me Too stories that are toppling powerful men. Okay, so let's just get to these bulletin points because that's pretty much the best part of these articles. Are there powerful men who have been taking advantage of women? No, I don't believe so. I don't think that's the case. But she says yes, but I doubt that most of these men would have acted that way if the underlying culture didn't support their behavior. Powerful men always get the girl, whether it's the movie hero 007, the adopted, the adorable, or the adored occur of the highest office of the land, JFK, or the beloved TV star. The hero gets his due, money and women. Do others know and go along with it? How often do they? How often they do, as was evidence in the 2008 roast of Laura. Okay, so if you have money and power, women are going to be attracted to you. Like that's not you taking, like that's not like, is that if Waka Flocka Flame or MGK or some artist is traveling the country and women want to go backstage, is he taking advantage of them by them wanting to go backstage and trying to get backstage and him bringing them to the back? I don't think so. Like I only think that you can only count that as being taken advantage of is if you honestly think that women are victims no matter what they do, and that they're too unconscious about their actions all the time. Like there's no way that you can say that the girl that's flashing her boobies to get backstage, she doesn't know no better, so the man should know better, so he shouldn't let her backstage. Like that's just being disingenuous. Like the whole idea that like even powerful men don't get what they want. Like people don't get what they want. That's a straw man to say. Like I'm sure John F. K. would have been much happier if he could have married Marilyn Monroe than his wife. But like that's not how life turned out. He married his wife, and then he still fooled around with Marilyn Monroe. Like at the end of the day, you can't just say because men have power, and it's some men, it's not all men. Like these feminist articles are such trash because they always paint everything in one narrative. And like if you look at Weinstein, I don't feel that Weinstein was taken advantage of, because the woman knew if the woman wanted to get farther in her career and she was given the option to trade something for that ability, that's an equal exchange. Like that's an equal exchange. Like so is it, so if it's two gay men, and a guy that is trying to get into a business or a career, and there's a guy that has power, and he does the same thing with the gay man. Is he taking advantage of him because he's gay, but they're both gay? Or is it they both want something and they're both trading for an outcome? Like, I don't see it as taking advantage of anything. Are we entering a new era of McCarthyism in which unsubstantiated accusations destroy careers and reputations? Well, at least she says perhaps. Like, that's at least, balanced. Perhaps we must be headful of creating new injustices as we try to remedy the old ones. You can't remedy something that's old. Like, you can't go back 50 years and right a wrong that was done. Like, it's already done. That's the thing about the past. You can't fix things from the past. If that was the case, we would have gone back and not gone to World War I or World War II, or we might not have done Desert Storm. Like this idea that you can fix things 50 years after the fact is just, it's malarkey. Like, it's not benefiting anybody to think like that. You're just putting unrealistic expectations on stuff. And I feel like that's a lot of entitlement and unrealistic expectations that are being put on people after the fact, to the point where it's just making people miserable. Are we taking behavior out of context? Probably. Okay, so this lady started off really slanted, but now I'm starting to feel that she's not so slanted. Behavior should always be judged within the context in which it occurred. Ignore the context and you will not make an accurate assessment of what transpired. That is 100% true. I cannot argue those facts. This is especially true when you're trying to understand what took place from two different viewpoints, his and hers, and from the events that happened in the past. Meanings of communication and actions can be altered. Sound bites can be taken out of context. Recollections can be diverted. Hence, it is essential that we don't rush to judgment. I can 100% agree with that. There's nothing with that I can argue. This woman's winning me over more and more. We must seek to know more before we assume guilt. 100% true. That's why you are innocent until proven guilty. And if there is guilt before deciding on an appropriate punishment, we need to assert whether the behavior is to traffic violence or misdemeanor felony. Yeah, so pretty much guilt. She's saying you have to be innocent until proven guilty, which I can get with. Are we ignoring the fact that morality is a social construct? Yes. We make moral judgments all the time without appreciating that morality is a social construct that changes over time. Now, I agree with that in the sense that morality does change over time, but I don't believe that it's a social construct, because if you do immoral stuff, you know that you're doing immoral stuff. Like, a lot of times when you do immoral stuff, people don't care. Like, for example, I'm not going to say that stealing is good. We can all probably agree that stealing is not good. And we probably all can assume that people don't feel good about stealing, but at some point, the people stop caring about that feeling. So, I can see what she's trying to get at with that sentence, but at the same time, I feel that it's a context thing. Like, it's not 100%. We judge this now as being deeply immoral. Most of their contemporaries did not. And so we need to ask ourselves if it is legitimate to condemn the actions of people in the past if their actions were fully consistent with the accepted practices of the time. Now we don't need to go back over 200 years in the arena of males-female relationship. Let us remember that what is considered aggressive and honored male virtue is in one decade might be considered harassment in another decade. As a society, we have been continually widening the circle that the circle of what we view as basic human rights. That's true. Like they're trying to make everything a basic human right, and that's not even you can't do that. You can't keep moving the goalposts and expect things to work out in a good sense. Oh, here's another thing. Here's another good thing about okay, so this is good. Today's problem with masculinity isn't what you think. A former soldier explains the emotional vacancy of fatherless generation. Yeah, the fatherless generation is definitely a problem. That's a lot of the problems that we have in society are from this. Men are so quick to blame the gods. They say that we devise their misery, but they themselves, in their depravity, design grief greater than the grief that fates assign. Homer, the Odyssey. That's true. A lot of people don't take into account their actions, and like that's a good thing. Like that's what's like why I don't like the victim mentality so much, because a lot of these things are our own doing. Like, for example, when I was growing up, I was born to projects in Windham, Ohio, and it's like a mixture of country and hood. Like it's a bunch of project buildings that are in the middle of the country. Like they're in the middle of the country. They're a few miles away from Warren, Ohio, which is like ghetto ever since like the steel industries and a lot of the industry in Warren left. So like there's just a lot of boarded up buildings and drugs and crime. There's not a whole lot of stuff out there. But I was born to projects, and when I was born to projects, my family lived on food stamps, and my parents they felt shame. They felt nothing good about being on welfare. So my parents did what they had to do, and they got us out of the projects and off of welfare. And when I say they did that, I mean like we literally went from living in a project to living in a trailer. Like I spent most of my life living in trailers. Like I've only lived in an actual house. Hold on a second. I spent a lot of my life living in trailers. And with that being said, I've not spent a lot of time living in an actual full house. I've spent most of my life in trailers, apartments, projects, and that's just what it was. Like we weren't super rich, but we weren't on welfare. Like that's just it. My family felt shame. Like my stepdad, he ended up he was my dad's best friend, and he divorced his wife, and my mom and him got together, and my mom and my dad divorced, and he was paying child support to his ex-wife. I don't know if he was paying alimony. I'm not too sure about all that, but I do know that he was paying a lot of money a month in child support, and then he was working, and he was supporting me and my sister and my mom with his paychecks, and he worked 2 full-time jobs. So growing up, my stepdad was always working, and he was taking care of 2 kids that weren't his. And he ended up getting hurt at work and had surgery on his back. And he was out of work for like 6 months. And me, my mom, and him and my sister, we almost lost our trailer because we lived in a trailer called Mapledale Manor in Ravenna, Ohio. And we couldn't, like, I had summers without electricity. Like there was months in the summer that we didn't have any electricity, and there was winters that we didn't have any propane. Like between my mom's spending and between like my stepdad getting hurt, like we were broke. And like we had churches that came, like a church helped pay our rent so that we could live. We had because my parents were married, they couldn't get food stamps. Like my stepdad and my mom, they couldn't get food stamps because they were married. So we weren't getting any sort of government assistance. We were getting like churches gave us like help pay our bills, stuff like that. My dad borrowed from his 401k to make sure that we didn't lose our place. And because of this, my dad, Ron, he ended up having to have back surgery for a third time. So the time where we almost lost everything was the second time that he had to have back surgery. The third time that he had to have back surgery, he literally was supposed to get his spine fused together, and he couldn't. He didn't want to take off the time for work because he didn't want to lose everything. So my dad literally worked until his back broke. And when I say when his back broke, I mean his back was always in pain. He was always hurting. He didn't like the way that painkillers made him feel, so he wouldn't take any sort of pain medication. And he was working 2 full-time jobs, and he worked at Stouffer's, and he worked in the freezer department. So he was lifting big bags of food, 50, 60, 70-pound bags of food, and dumping them in the machine so the machine could mix it and put it through the line. And with him doing that, yes, if you're married, it's harder for you to get, if you're married, it's harder for you to get government assistance because you're with you being married, you have 2 incomes. So like if you're like, for example, if I'm dating a girl and she wants to go to college and we're married, she doesn't qualify for grants and loans from the government to go to college because we're married. But if we're not married, she's considered to be a single mom, so she gets more assistance from the government to go to college. So being married, actually, you get less benefits. I'm sure there are still some people that get welfare and stuff that are married, but it gives you, it makes it harder. Like there are more obstacles to get through to get stuff from the government if you are married. But my dad didn't want to lose everything. So he worked these 2 full-time jobs and took care of 4 kids. And literally he needed to get his spine fused, and he didn't want to do it. The reason that he ended up getting his spine fused was because he literally went to bed one day and he walked into his bedroom, laid down, and went to sleep. The next day when he went to get up to go to work, he couldn't move his legs. He could not stand. He could not walk. He could not do anything. His spine had given out, and because of that, he was paralyzed from the waist down. And from that point on, he then had to go get surgery, and they had to go in and they had to fuse his spine together, and they ended up putting a pump. He has a pump that's right here in his stomach, and they go and they put the medicine, like they take this big needle and they put it through a port that's in his stomach, and they inject it full of fentanyl and a numbing agent. And as he goes through the day, the pump shoots the pain medication into his spine. There's a hose that goes from the pump into his spine, and it dumps the medicine right into his spinal cord. And because of this, he is disabled. He is not able to work like he used to. So as soon as his spine went out, my dad's been medically disabled. And like he can't do the stuff that he used to do because if that pump gets hit and ruptures, it will kill him. So like my dad works part-time, and he drives cars. Like he goes and he'll pick up a car in Boston, or he'll pick up a car in Akron and drive it back to the dealership that he works for. And like I said, when I was growing up, my dad literally worked 2 full-time jobs. Like if my dad wasn't working, something was wrong. Like he was sick or he was hurt or something was going on. Like my dad worked at Stouffer's for 20 some years, and he worked like anywhere from 50 to 70 hours a week at Stouffer's my entire time I grew up. And on top of that, he worked as a maintenance guy for the park that we lived at, like 20 to 30 hours a week, 40 hours a week doing that as well. Like he literally, I don't remember him having days off. Like he just constantly worked. And like, even though he's my stepdad, me and him he was more of a father to me because of me and my dad's own relationship and like the way that I felt about my dad from the stuff that my mom told me. So to this day, I still call my stepdad dad, and I talk to him on the regular. And me and him have a better relationship ever since I got sober. But if it wasn't for me watching my stepdad work like he did, I would never work the way that I work. Like the work ethic that I have is legitly because of him. I seen another man busting his hump to take care of two kids that were not his. He always treated me like I was his kid. Like, so this article from the Soldier about fatherless homes and not having dads, I totally can understand. I can totally understand that because I can say in my life, once I got sober, my personality of work, yeah, like he was paying a lot of money a month for his sons, and then he supported me, my sister, and my mom, and like to this day, my dad's a great dude. Like my real dad's dead. He died in 2014. He died at 54. And I'm going to do a video about my relationship with my real dad and show pictures of my father and stuff like that here in the next couple of days. But my stepdad, like he worked all the time. Like honest to God, like I can honestly not like the only time I can honestly remember my stepdad not working is if he was sick, if he was absolutely to where he couldn't get out of bed. And even if he couldn't get out of bed, he would literally only be off work for one day. Like when he had his second back surgery, he like he had to be off work for like his work would only let him be off for 6 months for surgery. So literally he went back to work like immediately, even though the doctor didn't want him to go back. Like part of the reason why his spine had to be fused was because he went to work too early on his second surgery, and he didn't completely recover from the surgery before he started doing all the same things he was doing before. So that played a role into his spine. But like that's the sacrifice that I've seen men do, is they literally give up their own health and well-being for their family. And there's not a lot of men that are being raised to be men these days. Like I could totally understand this. I haven't read any of this article, but we'll get into it. I don't have a group picture from the day that my dad visited my fraternity house at Oklahoma State University. It was awkward compared to the mom's day photo we would snap a few months later. Not that it's awkward to take pictures with my dad. We're all smiles, but the dad's day photo, which hung above my fraternity brother's desk, along with a compilation of date party photos, looked anything but unnatural. Each year, the university invites parents to spend a day with their kids. Most of us eat at one of the iconic Eskimo Joe's restaurants, tailgate, and then head to the football game afterward. It's okay it's off to the bars or whatever late night event your parents can muster the energy for. Outside fraternity and sorority houses, you'll find co-eds posing for group photos with dear old mom and dad. The photos with the moms always turn out great. There we are hugging mom and kissing her face. Everyone's laughing, appearing to be happy and a great time. If your mom made it out of the bar for a drink like mine did, you'd introduce her to the girl you were interested in while acting part of the perfect gentleman. Then you'd meet the mom of said girl, and your moms would screech about what a cute couple the two of you would make. Yeah. I haven't really seen anything about that, but I can totally see that because a lot of guys are like a lot of the things that are going on in society are going on in other societies, and men are walking away from. They're walking away from the narrative, and they're walking away from the stuff that's going on in society because it's unworth it. Like, the whole idea of marriage. The reason that the marriage rates are going down is because, like, the whole idea that we had at MTR is like, what do women bring to the table? Like, that's the truth. Like, the exchange that men are giving up for these things are not equal. Like, it's not like it used to be that women had submissiveness, fertility, and virginity that they exchanged for resources. But now they don't have to do any of those things. And the video that MTR was showing last night, the woman was talking about how these dusty men don't like when you call them out on their stuff and you aren't submissive and whatnot, because they assume that if they're not complete and utterly pieces of crap to you, that you're walking all over them. And a lot of, like, there's the exchange is not worth it. You're lucky if you get any of those, like, not even one. Like you're lucky if you get a constant fornication with a woman these days. Like, the thing of it is like the exchange between men and women in relationships is not equal anymore. And a lot of people men are not willing to play the game. Like that's the problem. Like, it's not equal. So in Japan, like, that's been going on for a long time. Like, they're not reproducing. Their population is getting old. Like, here in America, there's plenty of simps. So, like, some stuff's going on. But, like, I think in middle America, like in more flyover states. I don't like using the term flyover states. Yeah, I think Netflix and chill is more of like a democratic or metro type of situation. Like, I don't feel that the hookup culture is as bad as in, like, in Idaho or South Dakota or Montana, or like in places where things are more rural. I don't think that is necessarily so prevalent. I think that it's more prevalent in urban areas, because, like, I'm not saying that all women don't have, like, feminist ideologies or feminist thoughts in life, but I feel like the social pressure in other places outside of metropolitan areas is way more. Like, you should be married, you should have kids, like, you should be good to your man. I think those ideals are taught more in other parts of the country than New York or California or like Seattle, like Philly, Pittsburgh. Like, I feel like a lot of these bigger cities have shied away from that. Like, in West Virginia, like, I know a lot of people that are married in West Virginia, a lot of people that have more traditional views. I think the farther you go away from traditional views in a city or a group, in an area, the more prevalent the Netflix and chill stuff is. Okay. Dads were different, like Saturn versus Earth difference. The group photos always seemed cold. There were always some hugs happening, but they were those weird side hugs that Christians seemed so fond of giving one another that keep some room for the Holy Spirit variety. Someone looked like a philosopher. The smiles seemed somewhat forced when the dads came to the bar. They either became Frank the Tank or scanned the room like the Terminator. Most guys never introduced their dads to the girl that they were interested in either. Unlike my mom, my dad and I grabbed dinner and caught up before we had to leave. He had work the next day. Yeah, we do live in a post-Christian, well, Christianity in the Bible says it's going to be attacked, and a lot of people have always like a problem. Like there's so much narrative with race in society right now that that they push that the white man gave Christianity to black folks, and like there's a lot of stuff in the culture to push against Christianity, and Christian values help build society, like they do. So the farther we get away from Christianity and the farther we get away from traditional values, the more society is going to be in chaos, because you can't accept everyone as they are and be progressive and society be together. Like you can't. Like perfect example is the Romans. The Romans were considered to be Christian, but they did a bunch of polygamy and a bunch of bestiality and a bunch of different things in society, and their society devolved to the point where Rome collapsed. Like the more progressive you get, the more the society becomes weakened and it topples over. And America is at that point. Like we're at the point where we're just allowing so much shenanigans to go on and accepting it as normal that eventually our society is going to crumble under the weight of being progressive, because there becomes a point where you progress so far that you just like you go from being like everyone should be equal to now it's socially acceptable to be racist against white people, because it's not racist, it's progressive. Like we're helping everybody, but we're excluding these people. Like it becomes full circle, and you become the thing that you don't want to be, or the thing that you were fighting against, and society just falls apart. All right, so did your dad ever teach you how to be a man? The response I received ranged from learning how to change the tire or the oil in the car, or learning how to tie a tie. This made me think, if this is what qualifies as masculinity, we're in deep shit. So I dug further. Did your dad ever talk to you about the mistakes he made in life? Was he vulnerable? Did he teach you how to date or romance a woman? I don't think that's really important. Hold on one second, guys. I'll be right back. Like, I don't really think that's. I don't really think that's. I don't really think that's important. I really think that a lot of men have been. Hey, what's going on?
Yo.
Yo, what's going on?
Oh, nothing much. Just seeing what's up.
Not shit. Literally just sitting on this live stream, philosophizing over it while I wait for my plans for later to happen.
Yeah. So what were some of your ideas potentially for this channel? Like what were what was your intention day one, and has it sort of changed over this month?
Yeah, so my main goals was to do like a red pill kind of male improvement type of thing, but like with everything that's going on, like there's a lot of content creators that obviously already do that, and with that being said, I just don't want to be like I want to do something that's more creative than just reading articles and being back and forth with men and women, because like I already know that women are, like I believe wholeheartedly that the society is for women, it's not for men. I wholeheartedly believe that women aren't going to change. I really do believe that you only are going to get change out of pain. So until women start having to feel the brunt of their decisions in this feminist movement and men walking away, things aren't really going to change. So it's just going to be beating a dead horse over and over again, talking about men and women, because women have no reason to change their stance or what's going on in society for them.
Yeah.
So with it being about male improvement, like I can talk about from going from a drug addict and a criminal to being a middle class guy within 5 years, and I can speak on that stuff. But I think that to take the channel further, that I think that like doing something creative and showing my journey through it would be much more beneficial to other people, to prove to them like you can do this too. Like it's not just something that's being said to you.
No, yeah. Well, I hear what you're saying with the whole dead horse thing, because I understand. Like, believe me, like I've watched a lot of sort of somewhat repetitive content. It's more of like, who are you trying to reach? Like, I don't know if you watch Coach Greg Adams, but he talked about this subject about the repetitive stuff, and he says he's got guys that are already successful calling him that they're not red pilled on the females. You know, like
Really?
they're like multi whatevers, and they're trying to get red pilled on the woman question. So some people at older ages still haven't woke up to the female pill, whatever you want to call it. Maybe someone needs to talk about the female pill, because some people still haven't swallowed that. They still in, you know, Hollywood Disneyland.
Well, like I'm still gonna keep it. I'm still gonna keep that stuff on here, but I think that I'm going to like. I don't really necessarily want to be a reaction channel, because
Yeah.
like I really don't have like a set idea of what I'm going to do with the channel, but I do know that I want to incorporate some sort of like artistic growth that I'm doing as this channel goes. I do want to have like interviews and whatnot, because I do think that it's important to to talk ideas and perspectives and get people's takes on stuff. But I want to do it in a way that is true to myself and not true necessarily to other people.
Yeah. So what would you class yourself as? Would you say you're red pill, or would you add some other stuff to it?
Like I wouldn't necessarily add other stuff to it. Like I am red pill in the sense that I am very aware of women's behavior, and I do live my life in a way that I don't like. I am who I am. Like that's not gonna change. Like I've said, most of the women that I've dated since I've been sober think I hate women. Like,
Of course. Well, that's always
Yeah.
the tactic, right? That's a straight up tactic, believe it or not. Just call your opponent, you know, a misogynist, and they've been doing that for a long time.
yeah, like legitly, people think I hate women, and people also think that like people I've worked with think that I'm racist because of my views on race. But at the end of the day,
But that's a tactic too.
well,
That's
yeah,
a
I
tactic
agree.
as well.
Like I totally agree. Like I don't cowtail. Like I'm very strong-minded when it comes to my views and my thoughts, and like I don't care how people feel about them. So like I am red pill,
Well,
but I'm not.
that sounds like black pill.
No, because like I'll still date women. I'll still fool around with women. Like I'll
See,
still interact with women.
I actually think people misunderstand black pill as well. I think people only view black pill as if it's like depressed nihilist. I think there's a constructive side to black pill, because I like to consider myself like a mixture of black and red.
Well, like last night's live, some of the people were telling me that black pill was not the interaction of women. Like two of the people on the stream last night they say they're black pill, and they said black pill to them is not interacting with women, not acknowledging women, ignoring women. And like, I do that to some extent, but like,
Indifference is definitely a part of it. But I mean, you might have certain relationships, but I don't know how you view maybe like a complete stranger, like how you're going to handle, I mean, it's every situation is different, I guess.
well, myself personally, I don't trust people. Like, in my view, you have to earn my respect. Like, I'm not just going to give you my respect. Like, if I'm walking through a door and you're behind me, I will hold the door because that's polite. But like, I'm not going to do it because you're a man or because you're a woman. It's because I would like someone to hold the door for me if I'm coming up and you're walking through the door. Like, it's more of a Christian idea than a red pill or blue pill type of thing. But like, I just don't see, like, I don't go out of my way to be a dick. Like, I'll call someone out. Like, perfect example, my daughter's mom, we were at my grandparents' house when she met my grandparents back when we were dating, and she made a comment, she made a negative comment about me in front of my grandparents, and then my grandma jumped on, and right as when she did it, I corrected her and told her, don't do that. Like, I scolded her like a child. And like, that's the thing. Like, if I don't like something or I don't agree with something, I don't have a problem with calling it out right then and there in front of people and looking like an asshole. But that's just, I don't even think that's red pill or black pill or blue pill. I think that's just what you should do as a man. Like, I just think that's like, you just need to nip bad behavior in the bud.
But sometimes you can't now. Now you've got stuff written into law where you actually can't potentially discipline because it's gone past physical. Now it's like there's all different layers to stuff. You can't just verbally scold someone, that's how you'd handle it once upon a time.
Well, I just want it to be known on the channel and to everybody. At no point in my life will I ever not do something because of the government. So, like, if no one's going to threaten me with the government and expect me not to act the way that I want to act. So, for example, if a woman hits me, I have no problem defending myself, even if I know that I'm going to go to jail for it. Because at the end of the day, I'd rather go to jail on my morals than cowtail to somebody because they use the power of the government into behaving, because that to me is a slave mentality. Like, I'm not going to be a slave or a victim to you because you can call on the government.
Yeah.
Just like if someone broke into my house and I had to delete them from existence, there's a chance that I'm going to go to jail. But at the end of the day, I would rather, if I have,
like, you're not in their house, right? They're in your house. I mean, I agree with like just the common sense of if you break and enter, you've already thrown the rule book out already. Like, it's like the idea of people breaking and entering, and then they want to now apply rules like, oh, you should do this, should do that. It's like, man, you've already broke the rules. You're already, breaking and entering. But I guess it's just obvious.
Well, yeah, in America, you can still go to jail for people breaking it. Like in Ohio, in order for you to be able to do like self-defense or castle law in Ohio, if I'm in my living room, all right, and they come through the front door, I have to run to the farthest point in my house away from them. And then if they enter that room, then I'm legally allowed to defend myself. Like, you have to retreat at all. You have to be able to retreat at whatever point before you fall under the protection of the law. But me, myself personally, I'm not doing that. Like, you come through my front door and I'm right there, we're going to get into it right then and there. I'm not going to retreat and turn my back to you and put myself in danger more to be protected by the law. I'm going to be judged by 12 than rather carried by 6. But that's just me personally. I'd rather fight the government or go to court or get punished for saving my life than for possibly just be a victim, because I'm not a victim.
Yeah, I guess some of the specifics just depend on each state, right? Like some states will allow you just to just to defend a certain area. I can't. I forgot what it was. I think that was part of the Zimmerman stuff, right? It was like in Florida. Like that was one of the states where if you just walk a certain place, they're allowed to shoot you. Like you've got like a circle around you, and if they invade that circle, it's basically game on.
Yeah, like
I think
there's
they did a
a lot
South Park. They did a South Park episode on it or something. Like you can't step on me or something. I forgot what it was.
yeah, there's a lot of different laws in different places. Like some places don't have, some places have a way broader castle law or self defense law. Some don't. It really depends on where you live. But at like right now, like I've got a PO, and I've been I've been on the watch of probation slash government watch since 2013, and I don't get off until next month. And even on probation, like if I catch a charge, I have the potential to go have to do the time that's over my head, which I have 5 years over my head right now. And if someone threatens me or someone comes after me, I'm going to defend myself regardless if I'm going to be locked up for it, because I would rather take my chances being locked up and being in jail than trying to walk away or not defend myself and not living. Like at the end of the day, living and doing 3 years is way better than not living at all, in my personal opinion.
Nah, yeah, I get it. Yeah, for sure.
Like a lot of people will say stuff's not worth doing, but like sometimes you have to take an L to prove a point.
Yeah.
Like you're going to lose your rights, or you're going to lose things if you're not willing to take a stand. And when you take a stand, you put stuff at risk, and you have to, as a man, you have to be willing to accept that you're going to do the right thing at times, and you're still going to get punished for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you're using the term defended yourself, and that's the key term, right? Like they're invading your space. Like you're not going into, like you're not doing wrong basically by defending yourself.
Yeah, but so here in America, when it comes to defending yourself, you can be defending yourself and then be considered to be the main aggressor. So, for example, say someone hits me and I punch them and I break their nose. Because I broke their nose, under law, once I broke their nose, after that, if I keep hitting them, I can be considered the main aggressor because I did more harm to them than they did to me, and I kept hitting them. So like you can still get in trouble. Like if someone hits you and you knock them down and then you go over top them and you keep hitting them so they don't get up, so that you can get away from the situation, you can be considered to become the main aggressor because they say you took it too far. So even in defending yourself, you still are putting yourself in a position to become locked up because they can see it in a way that you didn't necessarily have to do that.
Yeah. So, like you said, it all depends on the state and stuff, right? Like, but yeah, like, are you talking like from like a Cleveland point of view, sort of? I guess.
Yeah, I'm talking.
Ohio.
I'm talking about Ohio. I'm talking about United States. It depends. It depends on the judge. It depends on the prosecutor. It depends on the jury. It depends on a lot of things. Like there is in Ohio, in the United States as a whole, there is a different definition between defense and being the aggressor. So like you can be a victim and then also become the aggressor in the same situation. It depends on your actions. So like say someone shoots at you, like someone's shooting at you and you return fire. Okay. Well, say you shoot somebody and it hits them in the leg and they go down and they still have their gun. If you walk up on them and shoot them, you now become not protected by defense because you shot them again while they were down. Even though they were still a threat, they still had a gun, they still could have got up and came after you. you are now going to be seen as overstepping the law of being in self-defense in the United States.
Well, even here, sometimes if there's like a knife or a weapon involved, that brings you into a certain thing where you're like, well, you've got this, you've brought this into the situation, so they try to play it from that aspect as well.
Yeah. So like at the end of the day, like I was saying, like at the end of the day, I'm gonna choose me. If I have to choose between me and someone else, I'm always going to choose me, regardless of the consequence. Like a perfect example of this is a few years ago, I was at my house and I had just got off work and I laid down and I was taking a nap because I had just worked like 60 hours or 70 hours that week. And my daughter's mom, I was dating her, and she woke me up and told me to go outside because my roommate was arguing with his brother outside. Now, I don't know, I didn't know what they were saying at the time when I walked out there, but as soon as I walked outside, I asked, like, are you everything okay? And dude was like, you need to watch my roommate's brother was like, you need to watch your back. And I was like, why? He's like, because I'm gonna beat your ass. So like I jumped off the porch and went down and just started swinging on him and beat his ass in the driveway right then and there. And like the reason I did that was because you're not going to come to my house and threaten me and tell me I need to watch my back. We're going to handle it right now because when we get done with this, I'm not going to have to watch my back. And could I have been locked up? I could have. It was very possible, but I wasn't. Like, I knew that I could go to jail, but you're not going to come into my house and tell me you're going to beat my ass. Like, regardless if I hit you first or not, it's on him. It's on at that point. Like, that's just how I feel about it. So what exactly got you into MTR and what got you into the Pence rule? Like, what made you decide to pick that as your channel name?
I don't know, just Pence rule is sort of like I don't know, it's like sort of just a simple rule that can get the job done, I guess, to not have some of these crazy scenarios. Because I hear some of these stories that people have, and I'm like, fuck, just got to follow the Pence rule.
Yeah, I definitely try not to. Put myself in unnecessary risk or unnecessary situations.
But I guess, yeah, I don't know. Like MTR, he just sort of keeps it real. He has some interesting guests on as well. Like, I haven't watched heaps of his stuff, but I've watched parts of it here and there, and it's been pretty good. Just getting like a different perspective. I mean, I even watched some of the sort of red pill PUA stuff, like just to get a different perspective on things.
Yeah, like I like red pill. I think that more men need to be aware. I think that in order for men to start being actual men, that they need to they need to become red pilled. Because if you're not red pilled, you're going to cowtail and you're going to change who you are as a person to suit women, and that's definitely like not saying what you feel so that a woman will date you or have sex with you or stuff like that is blue pill. Like, I think that's like, I don't think you really can be a man until like you're aware that you need to be who you are without worrying about other influences.
Yeah, straight up. But like, what would you say percentage wise? How many do you reckon are red pill now?
I would say it's growing, but I wouldn't say that it's too high. Like, I would probably say maybe at most, at the highest, 20%, 30% at most. I don't think it's very high.
It's not 30. It's not 30. I was thinking at the highest, like 15 to 20%. And you could even break it down to say who's like a bit more red pilled, because that's to say 15 or 20%, you're throwing in a couple of people that still aren't fully red pilled.
Yeah, like, I don't know, it is definitely growing, but I would definitely say it's probably about at high 20. maybe pushing 30 if you're gonna include like uh guys that are just celibate that you know that just choose to be celibate, stuff like that.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by choose by celibate?
Like I know guys that are nerdy that aren't even like they would rather just play video games than really date women, or like they'd
Yeah.
rather play magic and stuff. Like they would rather just like they would like. I'm not saying that they're attractive. I'm not saying that they're not nerdy. I'm not saying they're not awkward. But I'm saying like they just get more fulfillment from school and from like
No,
hobbies than women.
I agree with you. There's definitely and it's interesting to bring that up because I know a couple of people that play, say, what is it, D&D, and they can play that for like fucking hours, man, hours and hours, and they can do that every night, every weekend. So yeah, be interesting to know actually how many that is when you throw that into the mix.
Well, you got to think about all the gamers. Like there's like trading card
But
games and
yeah, but now you're throwing in offline gamers too. Like, how many offline gamers are there? How do you even quantify some of those numbers?
yeah, that's why I was saying Magic the Gathering's been going on for so long that that there's plenty of people that play Magic. Like the amount of games that are sold, it's majority men that buy them. So like online offline gaming, I'm assuming is a huge population of people in that really would rather just do that than hang out with women.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, I would really at the end of the day, like I really just want to make this channel go into something. Like I don't know what it is. I think it's going to be more of something creative. Like I want to create something that's creative. I don't want to just be like Coach Greg Adams, where it's I'm talking about women and I'm selling a book and like nothing.
Actually, to be honest, though, I actually respect that he made a book. Like I haven't read it. But I'm just saying in the sense of at least that's like a product, I guess, to some degree.
Yeah, like don't like not like don't get me wrong. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with his content or anything like that. Like like myself personally, whatever content when people want to put out is completely fine. Like I don't have a problem with that. But I just want to do something that's more creative. Like I don't want it to be necessary. I want to be able to make money off of my YouTube or off of my art or off of my content based on something being creative. That's something that I'm physically making that I'm trading. I don't want it to necessarily be just off of my opinion or off of me reading something and giving my opinion and it just being videos of my opinion and my reaction to stuff. I'd rather it be like me showing people like how I do photos or how I do paint or the creative process that I have in my head that's not just my thoughts.
Yeah. So you need like maybe like a GoPro or something. I don't know if you were going to show some of the art or something. You know, you were saying like you didn't want to be holding a camera, so you.
Well, like I have a camera. Like I have a Canon 77D. You know, it's a good camera. Like I'm gonna have a second camera. Like I'm gonna start having a person when I go out and shoot. They're gonna like I'm gonna be vlogging and I'm gonna have them shooting what we're doing as I'm taking pictures, and it's gonna go back and forth. So it'll be editing to do. But like I don't want it just to be me sitting in a camera and reading an article and being like, "That's trash. This is why I think this." Blah blah blah. Buy my book. Like I don't want I don't really want to do stuff like that.
Like a Tim Pool.
Yeah, like I want to want to be able to with photography, I want someone to see where I started from. Like I was here, and over the course of time, I want them to see like how I grew and what I was doing, and like someone else that wants to do photography can see what I did and be like, I can do this.
Yeah.
But I'm really an artist on the inside. Like I'm a pretty creative guy on the inside. I just don't do it.
Did you do some of the art for your tattoos?
No, none of my tattoos I drew. But like I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get some of my actual art that I've done, and I'll bring it out here and I'll show it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
So this is a Pikachu that I did back in the day. You know who that is?
Nah, who's that?
That is Kurt Cobain. That's a stipple.
Okay.
Stippling that I did of Kurt Cobain back. I did this back in school. Here is some graffiti that I did when I used to trip and whatnot.
Yeah.
Here's a self-portrait that I did 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
Like I drew that in like 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, because I was going to ask on the first couple, how long did some of those take to do?
This one took like literally a couple of hours to do. I was tripping, so like I literally had nothing to do, so I was just pumping it out. I broke my right hand at the time, so this was a project in high school that I had to do. So like my hand was broken, so it took me longer to do it because I had to use my left hand. I'm right-handed. This took like, I probably did it in like a week. Like I was doing it like I was just going to it and like do a little bit on it, then let it go, then do a little bit of it.
But you were saying you were wanting to do like photography. That's more of a like painting. That's more of art, right? or like, you know,
Yeah, like the reason that I haven't really been the reason I haven't really been drawing and stuff is because like ever since I got sober, like I don't do any mind altering substances. So like the way that I used to draw was all based off of drugs. So like being able to get my mind to be creative without drugs has been hard for me. So I really haven't tried to get back into it. But like
yeah,
with photography, I'm gonna screen share my like the photos. I don't know if you went to my Instagram and checked them out, but I'll bring up my page and I'll show you like some of the stuff that I've taken just this week. So like I took this week.
yeah. And is this with that camera you had before?
Yeah, the camera that I showed. This right here is some of the stuff that I took.
Yeah, yeah, that's all good. Yeah, I haven't really used Instagram in a while, to be honest. Like I used to
Like
use Instagram. I never really used Twitter. I pretty much only used like Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Those three.
so like this is my favorite photo that I took. And the reason
Yeah,
that I like this photo is because you have the circle of the tunnel, and then the pool of water is also in a circular shape, so it looks like a complete circle in the image. Like
yeah,
I love this photo. It's my favorite photo that I've taken so far. But like I never did photography. Me buying this camera is the first camera that I've actually ever owned that wasn't, attached to a phone.
yeah.
And
I know.
like,
Like, how many people just have phone cameras when you think like, you know, no one really has many cameras anymore because the fucking phone cameras keep on getting better and better.
yeah, so like these are just, I never like I've never taken a photography class. I've never done any sort of camera work, like literally never done. I've never shot videos, none of this stuff until YouTube. And like this is my son.
Yeah.
But like as you can see, like I'm not going to say that I'm the best photographer ever in life because I'm not. And I don't really know what I'm doing. Like I'm faking it 100%. But like I do feel that like for just your average person that just grabbed a camera, I have a pretty good eye for photography.
Yeah.
Like this right here, I did all these photos overexposed. I was playing with things being overexposed, and I edited the photos to where they were very grainy. There's a lot of noise in these photos, and I did that because I like it. Like I liked that effect. Now, would you say that that's the best quality? Probably not. Would a professional photographer tell me that this is not good to do? Probably. But like I like the feel that it gives. So like I did it.
Well, you want to just test out all the different things on the camera to some degree anyway, right?
Yeah.
Just to see what kind of different effects you can pull off.
Yeah, like I don't really have a style yet. So like this out of all the nature ones that I've taken that were overexposed, this right here is my favorite. This is my favorite one.
Yeah. So have you thought about potentially like traveling a little bit in order to do different types of photography?
Yeah, I plan on doing that, but like as of right now, like with the way that like me traveling is gonna like the only way that's gonna end up happening is if I can if I can subsidize my income. So like if I'm able to get money from my channel or money from my photography to fund me traveling to do that, then yeah. Like right now, I would be up in Minnesota filming the riots if I didn't have a job that I had to be at and I could leave.
Yeah,
Like
but I'm thinking
I
just
can't,
in the sense of like, have you sort of even traveled somewhere just around your area that might have different potential sort of photographic scenes? Because that's obviously one specific place you shot at, right?
those are multiple places. Like the
Oh,
first
okay.
those grainy photos were done down in like the Canton Akron area, and the photos with the guy skateboarding, that was here in Cleveland. So like I plan on going to the Ledges tomorrow, which Nelson Ledges is like this big quarry that's like where a lot of festivals happen at. So I'm gonna go out there tomorrow and take photos. So like I am traveling around, but like uh I would be able to go out and go farther and do more things if I wasn't tied down to having to keep a job. So
Yeah,
eventually my photography will change. Like also I don't even know if I'm going to keep doing landscapes. Like I might do urban stuff. Like right now I went to the other day I went to downtown Cleveland and took pictures of like the metropolitan part of Cleveland. So like I haven't got a style yet. I haven't uploaded that stuff to my computer and edited those photos yet, but I'm not really stuck in a sort of format that I figured out that I want to do yet.
yeah. No, that's all good. I mean, that's you might end up being a lot different from your first video anyway, and stuff like that. It's all just gonna potentially change with what you end up doing, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like when it comes to this YouTube channel, like I'm not even really sure like what it is that I really want to stick to cuz like I don't know. Like I don't know. I haven't made a decision yet and I was hoping to go live and talk to some people about it, but as you can see there wasn't a whole lot of people that came into the live stream to get feedback from other people or stuff like that. So like I'm still just faking it till I make it.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it to some degree. I mean, part of it's like a little bit of inspiration, I guess. Because I mean, sometimes you can pump out a little bit of content, and then sometimes you don't pump out content. So there's a bit of ebb and flow as well to it.
Yeah, I feel like God or the universe or oh okay. Um, so what are you about to get into?
What do you mean?
Like, what's your plans now that you're off work?
Um, well, I've just finished my work week, so I'll probably just chill out. I might go over. I might go hang out with a couple of mates I haven't seen in a while because we're finally off quarantine sort of over here. Like they've loosened up a few of the things.
You're over in London?
New
Like,
Zealand.
you're in New Zealand, okay.
New Zealand. Yeah.
You kind of have like an English accent, kind of.
Well, I am British, so there's that.
Okay, so I wasn't too far off.
Yeah, yeah. I was born in England, but I've lived the majority in New Zealand. But I guess
Yeah,
my parents would still have quite an English accent because of how long they were over in England for.
yeah. I'm actually my last name is English.
Yeah.
Like I have an English last name, and uh That's why, like, when I like my name Kyle is Gaelic. So
Yeah.
like I named all my kids.
What's that? What's Gaelic? Is that Irish or Welsh?
Yeah, it's like a mixture between Irish and it's like Irish and Welsh. Like those Celtic people had like Gaelic was also used in England before English was a thing. Like Gaelic was like was all part of it was all in the northern part of Europe.
Yeah, be certain regions and stuff.
Yeah. So like my name Kyle is a place of origin, or it's a place of origin. Like the name Kyle actually stands for straight or narrowing, and my son's name is Liam, which is like a Gaelic version of the name William.
Yeah,
And then and which means like it means a warrior of will. And then my daughter's name's Tegan, which is like beautiful or poetry or poetic in Gaelic.
Yeah. But yeah, nothing much actually. I'm almost a bit tired, eh? Like, well, actually, I'm actually not feeling too bad because the last few weekends I was having to work extra hours under quarantine because there was an older person couldn't work. So I'm back to just doing 8-hour weekends rather than 12-hour weekends.
Okay.
But yeah, nothing much normally. Just my first day off is pretty lazy, and then I'll probably do some stuff on my other day off. Get some errands and things sorted out.
Yeah, I was doing like I washed some dishes and took care of a couple things this morning.
Yeah. So are you on a day off now?
Yeah, I work Monday through Friday. Like I do like I don't I'm working Monday through Friday, so like I don't really so I usually am not working on the weekends. But thanks for the support, man. I'm gonna end up getting off here and start getting ready for this adventure of photography that I'm about to go on. I'm gonna pop in over to Oaken's channel real quick and show some love and support. But I appreciate everyone for joining me on this this random stream.
Sweet as. I'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, I'll probably be on later.
All right, sweet. Peace.
Peace.